Hi, hello everyone. Welcome back to my channel. We are back with the glossary of legal terms. The first phrase is import quota. An import quota is a government imposed limit on the quantity of a specific good that can be imported during a set period. It aims to protect the domestic industries from foreign competition. Quotas can stabilize prices and regulate market supply. They are part of a trade policy and can affect international relations. Overuse can lead to trade disputes and retaliation. The next phrase is status quo. Status quo is the existing state of affairs at a given time. Courts may issue orders to maintain status quo to prevent a harm until a final decision is made. It is crucial in disputes where change could prejudice one party. Status quo preservation helps maintain fairness during litigation. It is commonly used in property and contractual disputes. The next term is authority. Authority refers to the legal power or right to command, act, or make decisions. It may arise from law, contract, office, or custom. In law, authority determines the scope of powers held by officials, corporations, or agents. Distinctions exist between actual, apparent, and implied authority. It ensures clarity in responsibility and enforceability of actions. The next term is enjoin. To enjoin means to legally prohibit or require someone to do something through a court order, that is injunction. Courts grant injunctions to prevent harm, protect the rights, or maintain status quo. It can be preventive, that is stopping an action, or mandatory, that is compelling an action. Violating an injunction can lead to contempt of court charges. This power is a key equitable remedy in law. The next phrase is labor arbitration. Labor arbitration is a process of resolving disputes between employees and employees through a neutral arbitrator. It is often used for grievances under collective bargaining agreements. The arbitrator's decision is usually final and binding. This process is faster and less formal than court litigations. It helps maintain industrial peace. The next phrase is Bill of Particulars. A Bill of Particulars is a formal, detailed statement of claims or charges provided by one party in a lawsuit. It clarifies the issues so the opposing party can prepare a defense. Courts may order it when pleadings are too vague. It promotes transparency and procedural fairness. Failure to provide a sufficient bill can lead to dismissal of claims. The next phrase is vows and covenants. Vows and covenants are solemn promises, often with a moral or religious significance. In legal terms, covenants are binding agreements related to property or contracts. They may impose duties or restrictions on parties. Breach of a covenant can lead to damages or injunctions. They are significant in family law, trust law, and a religious context. The next term is authorization. Authorization is the official approval or permission granted to carry out an act. It may be legal, contractual, or administrative in nature. For example, businesses require authorization to operate and individuals need it to access certain rights or services. Authorization defines the limits within which a person can act. Unauthorized actions are often void or unlawful. The next phrase is impossibility of performance. This legal doctrine applies when fulfilling a contract becomes objectively impossible. Causes include natural disasters, death of a key person, or legal prohibitions. It releases parties from their contractual duties. Courts carefully examine if impossibility is genuine and not self-induced. It balances fairness with a contractual certainty. The next term is interlineation. Interlineation is the act of writing between the lines of a legal document after it has been drafted. It is usually done to add, correct, or clarify information. To maintain validity, such changes must be initialed or signed by relevant parties. Interlineations are common in contracts, bills, and deeds. They must be clear to avoid disputes about authenticity or interpretation. The next phrase is stay of proceedings. Stay of proceedings is a court order temporarily halting legal action. It may be granted to allow settlements, wait for another decision, or prevent injustice. Stays can be partial or complete, suspending certain actions. They ensure procedural fairness and efficient case management. Violating a stay can result in contempt of court. The next term is autopsy. An autopsy is the medical examination of a body after death to determine cause and manner of death. It involves external and internal inspection by a forensic pathologist. Autopsies may be mandatory in cases of suspicious or unexplained deaths. Findings serve both public health and criminal justice purposes. They also provide a closure to families by clarifying medical facts. The next phrase is vulgate law. Vulgate law refers to a body of law commonly accepted and practiced by the majority. It represents a standard or traditional interpretation over time. Such a law may be customary rather than codified. It influences judicial decisions and social expectations. Its legitimacy comes from widespread acceptance and continuity. The next phrase is motion to dismiss. A motion to dismiss is a formal request asking the court to throw out a case. It argues that even if allegations are true, they do not constitute a legal claim. Courts review jurisdiction, standing, and legal sufficiency. If granted, the case ends without a trial. It saves time and resources in meritless cases. The next term is enrollment. Enrollment is the formal process of registering or recording something in official records. In a legal context, it can mean entering a decree, judgment, or statute into public records. In education, it refers to a student's admission into an institution. Proper enrollment provides official recognition and enforceability. It is a procedural requirement in many administrative systems. The next term is binder. A binder is a temporary legal agreement that holds the place of a final contract. It is common in insurance, real estate, and finance transactions. The binder sets out essential terms until a full agreement is executed. It provides legal protection during negotiations. If breached, it may still be enforceable depending on its wording. The next term is award. An award is a formal decision or judgment granting relief, compensation, or recognition. In arbitration, it refers to the binding decision of the arbitrator. In a litigation, awards may involve damages, costs, or specific performance. Outside law, awards can also mean honors or distinctions for achievements. In all contexts, they represent an authoritative grant of rights or recognition. The next term is entail. Entail refers to a legal arrangement that restricts the inheritance of property to specific heirs, usually within a family lineage. Historically, it ensured that estates stayed intact and passed to male heirs. This limited the owner's right to sell or divide the property. Modern law has largely abolished the entails to allow free transfer of property. It is still studied in property and inheritance law as a historical concept. The next phrase is return of service. A return of service is a written statement confirming that legal documents have been properly delivered to the relevant party. It is typically filed by a process server or officer. The return of service provides evidence that due process requirements were met. Courts rely on it to ensure the defendant had a notice of proceedings. Proper return is crucial for valid legal proceedings. The next phrase is binding precedent. A binding precedent is a previous court decision that must be followed by lower courts in a similar case. It ensures consistency and predictability in the legal system. This principle is central to the doctrine of stare decisis. Binding precedents are usually set by higher courts. Departing from them requires strong justification or a change in law. The next phrase is binding precedent. A binding precedent is a previous court decision that must be followed by lower courts in a similar cases. It ensures consistency and predictability in the legal system. This principle is central to the doctrine of stare decisis. Binding precedents are usually set by higher courts. Departing from them requires strong justification or a change in law.